Hello, guys. Welcome to the Product Marketing Show. I'm Rish, your host. With me, I have Nisarg Shah. He's the CEO and founder of Affable AI, the fastest growing data company in influencer marketing ecosystem. Nisarg, thank you for coming over.
Thanks for having me, Rishi. Super excited to be on the pod and discussing product marketing and ideas with you.
So, Nisarg, since you are a startup founder, would really love to begin with your thoughts around how to do product launch. I mean, and not just like a new product launch, but even when you launch new features which are significant to your product. Uh, what's your playbook? What do you follow?
I think the crux of and being a startup, the benefit is that don't wait too long to launch your feature or launch a product in general, no matter how scrappy it is or maybe inefficient. Just give it in the hands of people so that they can actually use it. That has been a guiding philosophy where we come up with a product launch. We want to get it out as soon as possible, rather than fixing all the kinks and delaying the launch itself. And once we do decide to launch, we open it up to certain beta customers first, especially with major launches where we want to also make it a bit exclusive. We work with a lot of enterprises and SMBs. So when we launch new features in our SaaS, we want to give certain exclusive access to certain customers. That way, they also feel more special, and we also get good test and validation out of those launches. Um, Apart from that, one final point would be to use all your channels to announce the launch, including but not limited to internal resources, including like we use intercom, we use emails, social media, and even like personal one-on-one calls between client success managers and the customers. So making sure that every communication channel that you have with your potential and actual customers is leveraged to announce the launch itself.
Understand. I was actually speaking to somebody in the developer ops. I mean, more around uh, tool for coders or programmers. And the way they expressed their launch playbook was they used to go with dev advocates, which are influencers in the development space. Could be like a training, online training school or something where they teach about creating a mobile app. Um, what are your thoughts since you are also uh, a data platform for influencer marketing? What are your thoughts on how to use influencers during product launches?
That's actually a very good point. And when people typically think of influencers, they think influencers who are like B2C, fashion, lifestyle, travel influencers. But B2B influencers are a very common as well as a very relevant go-to-market channel. We are going to work with one YouTuber who talks a lot about Shopify businesses and apps that Shopify stores should use as part of our own a launch that we are kind of doing towards Shopify App Store businesses. But this could be very relevant because of two reasons primarily. One, it gives you that validation. If some relevant personality in the space is talking about your product, you mentioned a developer advocate. If they're talking about your product, it gives you validation, and it gives validation to the people who listen to this person. And second, you get a massive reach. It takes care of a lot of your marketing initiatives itself, and it helps you kind of reach this niche community of your potential customers through these influencers and advocates. So, as part of a launch, it makes a lot of sense to engage B2B influencers for SaaS businesses.
Interesting. And what are your thoughts about? I mean, this is outside product launch. So, in terms of what kind of content works for marketing, what are your thoughts? What has worked for you? Which type of marketing content and channel has worked for you the most?
So we've constantly been experimenting, right? And in terms of what works best itself, there are various metrics through which you can analyze if it's something is working or not. I'll give you an example. So we wanted to increase usage of some of our features, and some of the new launch that we did where we saw less traction coming from customers. In that case, a personalized one-to-one approach worked well. uh, in one scenario where we wanted to launch a completely new feature where people did not know that this function existed within the product itself, email communication has worked very well. In another scenario, in-app navigation, so like prompting someone that they could do this if they did certain actions, has worked very well. Um, so we are trying more and more to make personalized nudges within the platform itself to point someone if they do, let's say, activity one and activity two and activity three, then saying, okay, look, hey, here are some of the new features launches that you might find very useful. But apart from that, it's a typical email push, the typical intercom, pop up that tend to work very well for us in terms of marketing communication.
Mhm.
But
Have you
just
have,
like to add here, sorry, just to add here, this is in context of launching new features within an existing product. So
Mhm.
if we were to then think about launching a completely new product itself, then like influencer shout outs would work very well. Having a community of people where you can post like Slack communities where you can create this group of people that really care about the problem you're solving and keeping them engaged and posting it there, that also seems to work very well.
Interesting. And has have you tried video marketing now or in a previous role or some time ago?
Could you say that again?
Have you tried video marketing now or in your previous role?
We have, and in terms of video marketing, I think what has worked well for us is explainer videos. So um, not only for like big full-blown product launches, but even for feature launches, product explainer videos have worked very well for us. We put these videos on our website. We create Loom videos. We create YouTube short videos and share it with our customers over emails, as well as within the product itself.
Interesting. Uh, can you tell us about what obstacles do you face today in marketing, and what are you doing about it?
There are a lot of obstacles in general. If you were to talk about,
Maybe what are you trying to solve in the next 3 or 6 months?
right, I think our first topmost priority in terms of solving for marketing is once the we get a lot of leads on our website. And there is this a lot of qualification and disqualification of these leads from MQL to SQL and the entire process around inbound leads and converting them. So what we are currently trying to solve for is how do we give an inbound like lead a quick sandbox to play with without them having to talk to a salesperson. And I believe this is a
Hmm.
growth function where this is a marketing role. If someone knows, gets a quick value and a quick gratification of the experience of using the product without having to actually talk to anyone on the sales team or without actually having to sign up, that would be a great boost for us as someone who is evaluating a product in the space. So if a lead comes in, giving them a quick experience of the product. Um, and video is one format, but the ability to play around and click around and get the complete experience is something that is lacking on a lot of tools that even I am deciding to buy today. So that is something we are trying to solve for.
Nice, nice. One last question. So, for new startup founders, what are your top 2 or 3 pieces of advice on how can they start marketing without having big budgets?
That's a great question, right? Because I think we struggled quite a bit when we were starting out in terms of marketing. There's so much to do, right? I think more than just advice, I'd say that mistakes we made and that founders could learn from is we try to do everything on day one with a very small team. So what I would recommend is focus and pick up a channel. Say if SEO is your channel, or if video is your channel, if community is your channel, if paid acquisition is your channel, decide a channel and double down on it. Put quick numbers around what you think is successful and what is not successful, and achieve that. And secondly, work with experts. We struggled with SEO for a while, and when we work with an SEO expert, people tend to shy away from outsourcing marketing typically. but it helps a lot when you work with experts, right? So, in general, early days, founders have a lot of things on their plate. So rather than trying to do everything themselves, which is a very founder mentality, try to work with experts. Either bring in or outsource it, but work with specific experts who can help you scale these processes rather than trying to stitch and band-aid everything together in the initial days.
Interesting, Nisarg. Thank you so much for taking your time. Just one last request. If our viewers would like to connect with you or Affable, how can they find you?
So they can find me on LinkedIn and Twitter. I'm pretty responsive over DMs as well on Twitter. And Affable's website is affable.ai, which is AFFABLE.ai. And we personally look into every inbound message and request we get on the website. So feel free to reach out to us on our website as well.
Nice. All right, Nisarg. Have a lovely day.
Thanks a lot, Rishabh, for having me.